Let's get right into it. Number 10. Just save your money. Imagine it's 1970. A house costs about $23,000. A brand new car costs about $3,500. And college costs around $500 per year. Now fast forward to today. That same house costs $400,000. That car costs $35,000. And college costs $35,000 per year. Wages haven't kept up. If they had, the average worker would be making about $100,000 a year. Instead, they're making around $45,000. So when your grandparents tell you, just save your money like we did, what they're really saying is, just save your money in an economy that doesn't exist anymore. It's like they're giving you directions to a place that's been demolished and replaced with a parking lot. They're not lying. They really did buy a house by saving up for a few years. But that's because their house cost about as much as a used Toyota does today. In 1970, you could work a summer job at minimum wage and pay for a year of college. Try that today, and you'll barely cover your textbooks. You could skip avocado toast for the next 50 years and still not save enough for a house deposit in most cities. So next time someone tells you to just save money, remind them that you'd love to in their economy. But in this one, you're playing a game where the difficulty setting got cranked up to nightmare mode. Number 9. The college degree golden ticket. Your parents told you, just get a degree, any degree, and you'll be set for life. Well, that advice aged about as well as milk left in a hot car. Back in the 1970s, only about 11% of people had college degrees. Having one basically made you a unicorn in a field of horses. Companies would fight over you like seagulls over a French fry. But today, almost 40% of young people have degrees. That's not a golden ticket anymore. That's just the price of admission to get rejected by entry-level jobs requiring 5 years of experience. Your parents weren't lying exactly. They were just describing a world that doesn't exist anymore. It's like giving someone directions using landmarks that got demolished 20 years ago. The cost of college has gone up by 1,200% since 1980. Meanwhile, wages have gone up about as fast as a turtle climbing Mount Everest. So now we've got millions of people with degrees working jobs that don't require degrees. We've got baristas with master's degrees making your coffee. The most educated generation in history is also the most indebted. And the cherry on top is when you tell older folks you can't afford a house because of student loans, they suggest going back to school. Because clearly, the solution to drowning is more water. But hey, at least you can explain the socioeconomic implications of your situation using proper MLA format. Number 8. Find a job you love, and you'll never work a day in your life. Sounds amazing, but that advice is about as reliable as a chocolate teapot. Sarah loved painting more than anything in the world. Every weekend, she'd spend hours creating beautiful artwork just for fun. Then someone told her she should do it for a living. So she did. She quit her stable job and became a full-time artist. Fast forward 6 months, and Sarah hates painting. Now instead of painting what she loves, she's painting what sells. Instead of creating when inspiration hits, she's forcing herself to create on deadline. The constant pressure to maintain a social media presence. Suddenly, her passion became a prison. When you turn your hobby into a job, you're not just doing what you love. You're dealing with taxes, marketing, difficult customers, and endless admin work. You can't even enjoy your hobby anymore, because now every time you pick up that paintbrush, your brain goes into work mode. It's like turning your favorite song into your alarm clock. You start to hate it. Research shows that passion usually comes after you get good at something, not before. Mark Cuban, the billionaire, says it perfectly. Follow your effort, not your passion. Instead of looking for a job you love, look for a job you're good at. A job that challenges you to grow. A job that gives you the time and resources to pursue your actual passions outside of work. It's okay for work to feel like work, and that's why they pay you to do it. Number 7. They don't make things like they used to. Back in my day, things were built to last. You're being tricked by something called survivorship bias. What old stuff do you actually see today? Only the things that managed to survive this long. Walking into an antique store doesn't show you everything was well made back then. You're not seeing the thousands of items that broke, rusted, or fell apart decades ago. During World War II, researchers studied planes that came back from missions. They wanted to know where to add more armor, so they looked at all the bullet holes in the returning planes. But one smart mathematician pointed out something crucial. They were only looking at the planes that made it back. The ones that got shot in the really vulnerable spots never made it home. It's the same with old products. That 1950s fridge still running in your grandma's garage isn't proof that all fridges were better back then. It's proof that this particular fridge was exceptional. For every one of those, There were hundreds that died decades ago. A lot of old stuff actually sucked. Those classic cars needed repairs constantly. They guzzled gas like crazy, and they'd kill you in a crash that modern cars would easily protect you from. We only remember the survivors. It's like how people say music was better in their day. You're only remembering the hits. Nobody's feeling nostalgic about the terrible songs that everyone hated and forgot. While some old things were genuinely built to last, most of them were just as flimsy, unreliable, and disposable as anything today. We just forgot about all the duds. Number 6. We didn't have all these allergies back then. Your grandparents tell you stories about how they ate peanut butter sandwiches by the dozen and no one ever died. People absolutely did die. They just didn't know what killed them. Back then, if little Timmy stopped breathing after eating a peanut, they'd write it off as mysterious circumstances or weak constitution, and a lot of kids with severe allergies just didn't make it to adulthood. When Grandpa says, "We didn't have food allergies in my day," what he really means is, we didn't know what food allergies were, and the kids who had them aren't around to tell their stories. Little Jimmy always gets sick after eating shellfish. Must be demons. Not demons, just anaphylaxis. These days, we can test for allergies instead of waiting to see if someone stops breathing. We've got EpiPens instead of last rites, allergy warnings instead of mysterious deaths. Next time someone tells you that allergies are just a modern invention, remind them that we also didn't have seatbelts, child labor laws, or germ theory. Sometimes progress means admitting that people were dying all along. We just got better at figuring out why. Number 5. Sticks and stones. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. That might be the biggest lie we've all been fed. Your brain actually can't tell the difference between physical pain and emotional pain. When someone insults you, your brain lights up in the exact same areas as if you'd been punched in the face. Scientists put people in MRI machines and made them feel socially rejected. The same parts of their brains lit up as when they were being physically hurt. Your brain has one big ouch button, and it doesn't care if the pain comes from a broken arm or a broken heart. Physical wounds heal in a pretty predictable way. Break your leg, give it 6 to 8 weeks, but emotional wounds from words can stick around for decades. You probably don't remember that time you scraped your knee in 3rd grade, but you remember exactly what that one kid said to you that made everyone laugh. We keep telling kids this lie because we think it makes them tougher, but all it really does is make them feel guilty for being hurt. It's like telling someone, "Hey, that knife wound shouldn't hurt because knives aren't supposed to hurt you." Meanwhile, they're bleeding all over the place. Words can change the actual structure of your brain. Kids who get verbally bullied show the same brain patterns as soldiers with PTSD. Words can literally give you the same brain trauma as war. Number 4. The attention span lie. Your generation has the attention span of a goldfish. They'll tell you that back in their day, people could focus for 12 whole seconds. But now, thanks to phones and TikTok, we're down to just 8 seconds. Even worse than a goldfish, which can apparently focus for 9 seconds. But this fact is completely made up. The whole 8-second attention span thing comes from a Microsoft report that can't back up its claims. Scientists who actually study attention say it doesn't work like that. Your attention isn't some fixed number that keeps shrinking like your grandpa's patience at Thanksgiving dinner. It changes based on what you're doing. You can binge watch an entire season of your favorite show in one sitting. That's hours of focus right there. But sitting through a boring lecture, even 5 minutes feels like torture. The real difference is we just have more interesting stuff competing for our attention now. Your grandparents had 3 TV channels and a radio. You've got the entire internet in your pocket. Of course, you're going to switch between things more often. It's not because your brain is broken. It's because you've got better options. It's like blaming someone for not finishing their vegetables when there's a whole buffet of delicious food right next to them. So next time someone tells you your generation can't focus, remind them that you just spent 40 minutes customizing your character in a video game. The problem isn't your attention span. The problem is boring content trying to blame its audience for not being interested. Number 3, the food pyramid. That food pyramid you learned about in school told you to eat 6 to 11 servings of bread and pasta every day. Turns out that was about as scientifically accurate as saying the earth is shaped like a banana. In the 1970s, America had way too much grain. The government wanted to find a way to get rid of all this grain, so they told everyone they needed to eat a whole loaf of bread every single day. The food pyramid wasn't designed by scientists or doctors. It was shaped by lobbyists and politicians. When actual scientists tried to point out that eating 11 servings of bread a day might not be the best idea, the USDA literally withdrew their first version of the pyramid because wheat farmers complained it would hurt their profits. So they redesigned it to make bread and pasta look even more important. It's like asking Ronald McDonald to design your diet plan. This thing was taught in in schools for decades. Entire generations grew up thinking they needed to eat more bread than vegetables. The pyramid also told you to limit fats of all kinds, which led to the whole fat-free craze of the 90s. Companies started replacing fat with sugar in everything, because apparently, a cookie with 0 fat and 50 grams of sugar is healthier. Today, scientists actually think this might have been one of the worst pieces of nutritional advice ever given. It's like your grandparents were told to avoid butter but chug corn syrup instead. The food pyramid was finally replaced in 2011 with something called MyPlate, which is basically the government admitting they messed up on that whole bread thing. Number 2. The wait an hour after eating swim rule. Your mom probably told you to wait an hour after eating before swimming. The idea was that if you went swimming right after eating, you'd get horrible cramps and sink like a rock, but there's absolutely zero evidence that swimming after eating increases your risk of drowning. Olympic swimmers often eat right before competing. Michael Phelps wasn't sitting around for an hour after his famous 12,000-calorie meals. Back in the early 1900s, some health organizations started spreading this idea. They thought that when you eat, your body sends blood to your digestive system, leaving less blood for your arms and legs. Wrong. Your body is way better at multitasking than your parents gave it credit for. Sure, you might feel a bit uncomfortable if you eat a massive burger and immediately try to do Olympic-level butterfly strokes. It's like trying to run a marathon right after Thanksgiving dinner. You won't die, you'll just feel like you want to. Some scientists think this myth might have actually saved lives, just not in the way people thought. Making kids wait an hour after eating meant they weren't immediately jumping back into rough pool games while distracted and full of energy. It was a forced timeout that probably prevented some accidents. So maybe our parents weren't completely wrong, just wrong for the right reasons. Number 1. Every generation gets called lazy by the one before it. Ancient Greek writings from thousands of years ago complained about lazy young people. When cars were invented, older folks said young people were lazy for not walking everywhere. When calculators came out, they said students were lazy for not doing math by hand. When email became a thing, they called office workers lazy for not handwriting letters. What looks like laziness is usually just being smart about using new tools. Your grandpa probably thinks you're lazy for ordering groceries online instead of walking to the store, but you're probably working 3 different side hustles, managing a social media presence, and trying to figure out how to afford a house that costs 10 times what it did in his day. Studies show that modern workers are actually 400% more productive than workers in the 1950s. You're doing in 2 hours what took your grandpa a full workday, but instead of getting praised for being efficient, you get called lazy because you're not putting in the hours. It's like being called a bad driver because you use GPS instead of memorizing every street in the city. In 30 years, you'll probably be complaining about how lazy kids are with their teleporters and brain-computer interfaces. Back in my day, we had to use our hands to type on phones. Kids these days just think things and they appear. So lazy. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.